is an absolute pleasure to be here. I hope you guys won't mind if I do this in English, because if I do it in Hebrew, it is going to be the shortest speech of my life. Efo ha-sherutim, that would basically be the whole thing. So we're going to try this in English and see what happens. But I know that almost every Israeli speaks fluent English. I've known that for a long time, but especially I've been here now, I think this is 8 days in Israel, and not only do you guys speak English, the bond that I see between America and Israel is so profound and so obvious to me that when we set up this trip, my team had been working on an Israel trip for quite some time, and we were invited to this conference, and I'm rather busy back at home, obviously, with the show and running all sorts of operations and doing speaking gigs and all this sort of stuff, that we could have done a very short trip to Israel, a 2 or 3 day trip, but I really wanted to do something bigger. I haven't been here in Israel since 2017. This is, I think, my 5th trip to Israel, and I have a deep affinity to this country. My parents actually met in Israel in the early 70s. My sister got married to an Israeli and got married in Israel, so I've been here many times. I love the country, and I wanted to do a more broad trip because, as you guys know, and I have no doubt, I heard the previous speaker, and I'm sure some of the other speakers were talking about as well, America has a lot of problems right now. Yeah, I didn't even mean that to be funny, but we do. We have a lot of problems in America, and I know Israel's got some problems. And what I realized a few days before we got here was, wow, well, we're going to be here for 10 days or so. And everyone knows, I think most people know what America can do for Israel, right? There's aid, there's military stuff, all of the usual stuff. But I started thinking, I have a feeling that there is something that Israel can do for America as well. And by the way, there's obvious things that Israel does for America in terms of intelligence and technology and military innovation and all of those things. But I really thought there was something else. And I'm in day, I think, 6 or 7 now of my trip here, and it's become very, very obvious to me. And I wonder how obvious this is to you guys as Israelis. There is something that I think Israel can give to America. We are right now being hit with this woke thing in a way that has basically decimated our entire institutional America, meaning it's ripped through our colleges, it's ripped in many ways through our military, certainly through our media, all of our cultural institutions, television, movies, media, everything. It really, really has. Nothing is true anymore. We're constantly in the midst of protests and debate. As my friend Douglas Murray often says, who happens to be a great supporter of Israel, we are now debating things that we know we had ended the debate on. We don't know if boys are girls or girls are boys or any of these things. And it really has infected everything. It's led to a raging culture war in America. And it's led to some really crazy political polarization. I started thinking, well, what's going on in Israel? So after being here, my first 5 days here, we were here in Jerusalem. And I have to say, first off, just a couple notes on what's going on here in Israel. For those of you that live here, that maybe it's hard for you to see because you see it every day, having not been here for me in 7 years. This country has grown. I mean, grown and grown. And it is clean, and your buildings are going up fast, and your roads are going up fast, and your light rail, and then there's the obvious stuff, right? The people here, right? What does everybody say? What does Bibi and everyone else say in every speech about Israel? That there were no natural resources here, and what was it? It was the people. But it really is true. That's becoming very obvious to me. The energy to be in the shuk before Shabbat and see what's happening here, and the cleanliness, I mean, literally no trash anywhere. The homeless situation, I haven't seen any homeless people. The general state of life here is moving along really well. And I think that's the thing I'm trying to understand as I'm here. What is it that you guys are still doing right? And it's funny because everyone that's coming up to me, whether I've been here in Jerusalem or in Tel Aviv or up north, everyone keeps saying to me, oh, Dave, what do you think about the politics here? It's worse than ever, and there's protesters, and everyone's fighting about this, and the judicial reform, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm looking around going, man, I don't know what you guys are talking about, actually. And that may be really hard for you to see. But I remember when I was here for the first time in 1997, I was 21 years old. And the big thing in Israel at the time, it was Bibi's first go-round. One of the big things at the time was that everyone thought you guys were going to run out of water in 5 years. That was a big thing. Now I'm here, 20 some odd years later, and Israel is exporting water, right? You all take showers as long as you want. Do you know that? You can do that. That's pretty good. I got applause on long showers. That's nice. But that's the point. That's the point, guys. There is something so incredible happening here because of the innovation and the desire to build. And build both ways, by the way. It's not just building up. Having been in Jerusalem and seeing the excavations that are obviously ongoing all the time, and going to the city of David and seeing the years that are down there, and then looking at the buildings that are going up that way, there is something so incredible here. And what's interesting from a political perspective, I think from what I usually do, is that I've been fighting the woke and whatever you want to call them, whatever that thing is, this new identity politics that's ripping through everything. I've been on the forefront of fighting them for probably 7 or 8 years now. And I guess that's what kind of put me on the map. And I've been trying to understand what's going on here. So what's going on politically? Obviously, there's always tensions in Israel. There's tensions between the religious and the secular. And there's obviously external pressures and all of that stuff. But what's interesting to me is it seems to me that the woke thing here has not fully ingrained itself. I understand it's on the way. I understand that literally every single person, if I polled you on what you're most concerned about, it might just be that. And you should be concerned about it. But I think what I'm realizing more than anything else is that you guys have something, and it's the thing that I'm looking to perhaps import into America, that we don't have. We are really struggling with what is true, with what unites us. America has done it better than anybody for 250 years. More people from every walk of earth have come to America, and basically everybody has made a better life for themselves. It's truly incredible. Virtually nobody in America today has it worse than their ancestors. It doesn't matter where you come from. And yet we seem to be losing it, right? We seem to be losing it. Here, whether I've been here in Jerusalem or with more secular people in Tel Aviv, there's some tension. It's very obvious, right? This judicial reform thing has everybody sort of upended. Obviously, your media, that's one thing I've definitely learned. I'm not surprised by it. It sounds like your media is probably as bad as ours, which, if it is as bad as ours, good luck with all of that. But all right, we'll fix that. I may have to open an operation here. We're already talking about it, yeah. I might get Ben Shapiro with me. We'll see what we can do. Ben, actually, you may not know this. He's only 5'4". He's in my pocket right now. You want to see him? It's funny, I know the smallest Jew, Ben Shapiro, and I know the tallest Jew, Dennis Prager, is like 8'9", so great people. But you guys have something here still that I really want you to realize that you have. And it doesn't matter whether you're religious or secular or whatever it might be. There is something that is still connecting everyone here to reality, to truth. And it has something to do with history, and it has something to do with belief, and it has something to do with God, and all of those pieces, whether you treat these issues completely differently, or how you pray, or if you ever pray, or any of those things, or whether your belief is kind of in and out throughout your life, as mine has been. There is something going on here that is uniting you guys, that is still driving this thing forward, so that someone like me can come here after not being here in 7 years and be truly blown away. I mean, truly blown away. Walking around Jerusalem, I assure you guys, it is more peaceful, it is more pleasant, more joyous than New York, than San Francisco, than Los Angeles, Portland, Seattle, Philadelphia. I could do this all day long. And you really need to understand that. And I don't say that with joy. I love America. I am very concerned about what's going on there, and I've been fighting very hard to reverse some of this stuff. Unfortunately, every time we seem to stop a little bit of the wokeness, it just keeps coming. And they will not stop. And when they get here, to whatever degree they are here already, they will not stop. And it will be up to you guys to figure out how you can build your own institutions and your own communities and all of those things. But I think there's a built-in defense. I really do, guys. I think our people have a built-in defense over this thing. It's why we're still here thousands of years later. That's really obvious to me right now. And I think that if you can take a little bit of that, and know that the people on the other side of this political thing. And as confused as they may be, and maybe their arguments aren't as good, and they may be more hysterical, and there's two people out there with very loud bullhorns, it's like there's still something bringing us together, right? And I think that's really what we have to focus on. I've actually even realized, as I said, I want to import that into America, and I think that's something that I can really try to do going forward, because we need it. Trust me, we need it there too. America has a much bigger problem. You guys, Israel is an absurdly tiny country the size of New Jersey, which I think is our second smallest state, and you have a largely unified community in terms of religion and rough outlook on life, the story of our people, right? With respect for minorities and all of those things. But that's what I'm looking to do while I'm here, and I have to say it's been an absolute joy, truly an absolute joy. I feel like something has happened to me on this trip, and I think that if you guys can take a little bit of that spirit into this political fight that you seem to be in right now, I really think that that's how you're going to win it. So with that being said, I'm going to take a seat. I think we're going to do a little bit of a Q&A, and if we get any of your questions too, I promise you nothing is off limits. As I told everybody backstage, I'm happy to unpack anything, and I just want to say it's an absolute pleasure to be with you here in Jerusalem, the united and eternal capital of Israel. So thank you very much.